Okay, so you know that feeling, right, when you're like really trying to get good at English and you want to pick up on all those little things that native speakers do?
Yeah.
You know, those turns of phrase that they use without even thinking? Like it's almost like you want to get to this level where you're not just understanding the words, but like the feeling,
Exactly.
the actual the deeper meaning.
Yeah, it's that jump from just like knowing the rules to actually feeling the language and being able to use it in that way.
That's exactly what we are diving into today.
Love it.
And we've got some really cool stuff to go through.
Awesome.
So we have a YouTube lesson that's all about advanced everyday phrases.
Nice.
Then we have a text conversation.
Yeah.
That's giving advice on how to think in English.
Oh, that's a good one.
Then a dialogue about overcoming the fear of speaking.
Yeah, that's so common.
Oh my gosh, it's so relatable.
Very relatable.
Then we've got a YouTube podcast episode about avoiding beginner mistakes.
Okay, cool.
So we've got a lot of different angles here.
A lot of different perspectives.
On this topic of sounding more fluent and natural and confident in English.
And confident, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so our mission is to really kind of go through all of this and pick out the really useful strategies, the aha moments that will help you, our listener, to not just be understood, but to actually sound natural and confident and fluent.
And it's not just about the vocabulary.
Right.
It's that secret sauce.
Yes.
That makes you sound like a native speaker.
Okay, so are you ready to unpack all of this?
Let's do it.
I am ready to unpack.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start off with these advanced daily English phrases.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to start because it's amazing how much like cultural understanding and nuance can be packed into these little phrases. Right, these idioms.
Yeah, and the YouTube lesson that we looked at, it really kind of said like, okay, we're going beyond the kind of, hello, how are you?
Right.
I'm fine, thank you. And you're like, we are moving beyond that.
Yes. We are moving to the next level.
So one of the first phrases that they highlighted was throw someone under the bus.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And it's pretty intense, right?
It is. And I think what's interesting about this one is it really has that image, right? It had that image of like sacrificing someone else to save yourself, which unfortunately is a very real thing that happens in social situations.
Yeah, it happens. And so they gave an example. They said, like, imagine you're working on a group project.
Right.
And, you know, a team member forgets to do their part or does a really bad job or whatever. And then instead of taking responsibility, they blame you to the professor or something.
Ugh, I hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
Classic throw under the bus move.
Yeah, so you're thrown under the bus.
You're the one under there.
Yeah. And they even had like this little dialogue where Liam is like, oh, I didn't finish my part of the report because Emily didn't give me the data.
Oh, wow.
Oh, poor Emily.
Yeah, so she just got thrown right under there.
She got totally thrown under the bus.
Wow.
Okay, so then we have spill the beans.
Okay, another visual one.
Yeah, this is all about letting a secret out.
Oh, yeah.
Usually by accident.
Yeah.
So like accidentally revealing a surprise party or overhearing that your boss is going to quit and then like you react in a way that makes everyone know that you know.
Yeah.
So you've spilled the beans.
The beans are out there.
Yeah, the beans are everywhere.
Yeah, and I love that image because it's like you can't
get them back in the can.
You know exactly. Once they're out, they're out.
And they even had like this little practice dialogue for us where it's like,
okay,
Emily, you won't believe what I just heard. Sarah,
are you about to spill the beans?
You know, and it's those everyday situations, right?
Yeah, okay.
That help you really remember these phrases.
Totally.
Okay, hit the nail on the head.
Okay, love this one.
No hammers required for this one. This just means to be exactly right about something.
Yeah, and it's that feeling of like when you just like, you know, you're exactly right. It's like a perfect assessment of the situation.
Yeah, like if you're feeling super overwhelmed with work and your friend's like, you know, I think you're stressed because you just have too much going on. And you're like,
you hit the nail on the head.
Hit the nail on the head. Or the example they used was like a roommate, you know, correctly guessing that their roommate hates mornings because he's always up late playing video games.
Right.
So he's like, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. Might be annoying to the person being told that, but
it's true.
That's accurate.
So true. Okay. And then Liam one of the hosts, he asked this really interesting question. He said, why do you think learners struggle with advanced phrases? And Emily's like, maybe because textbooks don't teach them. Hit the nail on the head.
Hit the nail on the head. I love that.
Just a little meta moment there.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Think outside the box.
Okay.
This is all about being creative.
Yeah.
Coming up with new ideas.
Being innovative.
Yeah, innovative.
Finding those creative solutions.
If you are stuck on a problem at work, your boss might be like,
think outside the box, guys.
We need to think outside the box here, people.
We'll need some new ideas.
Or if you're writing an essay and it's kind of predictable, your teacher might say, think outside the box.
Think outside the box. Come up with something more original.
And so Liam's example was like, how to fix bad Wi-Fi.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, instead of, calling your internet provider, like, try repositioning your router.
Okay.
Maybe build a tinfoil antenna.
Oh, wow.
Or just stop watching so many cat videos.
I love that. Yeah, those are some outside-the-box solutions.
Okay. Take it with a grain of salt.
Okay, this is a good one.
This is basically like saying, don't believe something completely.
Right.
Be a little bit skeptical.
Be a little bit skeptical. Question. So if your friend is like, oh my gosh, there's this app that will make you fluent in English in 1 week.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Take it with a grain of salt.
I've heard that one before.
Yeah. They were joking about this new cafe that opened up that's serving magic coffee.
Oh, magic coffee.
And it turned out it just tasted like muddy water.
Oh, no.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, take that one with a grain of salt.
Definitely take that with a grain of salt.
Maybe a whole bag.
Yeah? Okay. All right. Once in a blue moon.
I love this one.
This is so descriptive, right?
It's such a beautiful image.
It's like saying something that happens very rarely. So maybe you eat fast food once in a blue moon.
Right.
Or maybe you have a relative who only calls you when they need a favor.
Oh, yeah.
That's a once in a blue moon kind of call.
Once in a blue moon.
And Liam was like, I go to the gym once in a blue moon, and then I regret it for days afterwards.
Oh, I think we've all been there.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Okay, on the same page.
Okay, so this one's all about understanding, making sure everyone's clear.
Yeah, like everyone agrees on the plan or the situation.
On the same page.
So they gave the example of like planning a camping trip.
Oh, okay.
And one person is thinking like cozy cabin with Wi-Fi.
Right.
And the other person's packing a tent.
Oh, no.
They're like, wait a minute, we are not on the same page.
Not at all on the same page.
Or for their podcast, they were talking about.
Yeah.
Liam just casually suggested like recording a video version. And Emily's like, hold on, what kind of equipment do we need?
Yeah.
What's the budget? Like, we're not on the same page about this.
We need to talk about this.
Okay, cutting edge.
Oh, cutting edge.
This is something that's like super modern, innovative, technologically advanced.
The latest and greatest?
Yeah.
Like at the forefront of whatever field you're talking about.
So like smartphones, cutting edge technology hospitals, using cutting edge medical treatments.
Right.
But it's not always high tech.
Yeah.
They were talking about how like their friend has this new oven that's like super fancy with like 20 different settings. And they're like,
that's cutting edge.
That's cutting edge.
Yeah.
Or these new sneakers that have like special gel in the soles. That's cutting edge.
No,
okay, back to the drawing board.
Okay, so this one.
This is when like your attempt fails and you have to start over.
Yeah, you got to go back.
You got to go back.
Regroup.
Like you try to bake a cake and it's burnt.
Oh, what?
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
You try to fix your bike and you accidentally like detach a wheel.
Oh, no.
That wasn't even loose to begin with.
Okay, back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board. And Liam's example was his very ambitious learn Spanish in a week plan. Where he ended up only being able to say hola.
Oh, dear.
So back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board on that one.
Yeah, okay, burn the midnight oil.
All right, so this one is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
This is working late.
Working very late.
Very late into the night.
Yeah, so you're studying for an exam, you're finishing a project, you're trying to fix your laptop at 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah? Been there.
You are burning the midnight oil.
Burning the midnight oil.
And Liam even admitted to burning the midnight oil playing video games.
Oh, yeah.
So, you can burn the midnight oil doing all sorts of things.
All sorts of things.
Not just work.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The ball is in your court.
All right. So this is a good one.
And you don't need a tennis racket.
No, you do not.
For this one.
This is about...
This basically means it's someone else's turn.
Mm-hmm. It's their turn to take action.
To take action or make a decision.
Yeah.
So your boss gives you all this data for a project and says, okay, the ball's in your court now.
What are you going to do with it?
Yeah. Or a friend invites everyone to a party and says, okay, the ball's in your court to bring the snacks.
Oh, nice.
And Liam was talking about how Emily's like, oh, I already booked the train tickets for our trip. So the ball's in your court to plan everything else.
You handle the rest.
And Liam's like, wait a minute. I thought you were doing everything. So yeah, the ball was not in the right court.
A communication breakdown. Yeah. Okay, cost an arm and a leg.
Okay, I love this one.
This is basically saying that something is super expensive.
So expensive.
So expensive.
Like you're giving up a limb.
Yeah. So like those designer handbags.
Oh, yeah.
They're like thousands of dollars.
Ridiculous.
Or that fancy gym membership that you never used.
Didn't ever actually go to.
Yeah. And Liam was saying, I wanted to buy the new phone, but it costs an arm and a leg. And then he's like, maybe I should just sell an arm as a joke. And then he went on a little rant about how $10 smoothies cost an arm and a leg.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Sit on the fence.
All right. So this one is all about indecision.
Yeah. You can't decide between two options.
Yeah.
Or you're just choosing to remain neutral.
Right.
So it's like pizza or burgers for dinner.
Ooh, I don't. I'm sitting on the fence.
I'm sitting on the fence.
Yeah.
Or your boss is like, we've got these two strategies. I'm sitting on the fence until I get more data.
Yeah. You need more information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bite the bullet.
Okay.
This is when you just have to face a difficult or unpleasant situation.
You got to do it.
You got to do it.
No matter how much you don't want to.
Because it's unavoidable.
Right.
So finally going to the dentist.
Oh, yeah.
When you've been putting it off.
That's a classic bite the bullet moment.
Or cleaning out that closet that's overflowing with stuff.
Oh, my God.
Those are bite the bullet moments.
Really?
And Emily's example was having to tell her cousin that she can't borrow her car anymore.
Oh, yeah. That's an awkward conversation.
It is. It is.
But sometimes you just got to do it.
Sometimes got to bite the bullet. Okay. And finally, in a nutshell, this means you're going to summarize something very briefly.
The main points.
So, in a nutshell, the movie was a thrilling sci-fi adventure with a surprise twist ending.
Nice.
In a nutshell, my weekend involved a lot of laundry, binge watching my favorite show, and way too much coffee.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. And then Liam kind of sums up the whole lesson.
Okay.
In a nutshell, 15 advanced phrases to help you sound more fluent, more confident, and maybe a little bit sophisticated. And the whole point is to, move beyond that basic English and sound more like a pro in everyday conversation.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about thinking in English.
Oh, yes.
Which is something that a lot of learners struggle with.
It can be a really tough one.
Yeah, it is. It's like, how do you get your brain to actually think in English?
Right.
And so the text conversation we looked at was between Lisa and John.
Okay.
And John is basically saying, how do I get myself to stop mentally translating for my native language?
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar?
I think a lot of people deal with that.
And Lisa's first piece of advice is so simple, but it's like, start with the everyday. When you're at home by yourself, just describe what you're doing in English.
I'm making coffee.
I'm making coffee. I'm going for a walk.
I'm going to the store.
I'm reading a book.
I'm watching TV.
Yeah.
Just get that internal monologue going.
Yeah. And she's like, it might feel a little strange at first, but the more you do it, the easier it will become.
It'll become more natural.
She even suggests labeling objects in your house with sticky notes with the English word.
Oh, I love that.
So you're constantly seeing that word and connecting it.
Connecting it to the object.
To the object. And then John asked this great question.
Okay.
He's like, what do you do if you encounter a word that you don't know how to say in English?
Right. How do you handle that?
And Lisa's like, don't switch back to your native language. Try to explain it using simpler words that you do know. Yeah. So instead of cupboard, you could say the place where I kept the dishes.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
You're still thinking in English.
Right. You're working it out.
You're working it out.
In English.
Yeah. Lisa also recommends immersing yourself in English as much as possible.
Yeah.
Movies, podcasts, books, music.
All of it.
Yeah. But then she adds this technique
called
shadowing.
Shadowing.
Which is basically repeating phrases and sentences out loud as you hear them.
As you hear them.
Yeah, and John's like, that sounds hard.
Yeah, you can be.
But she's like, it's really effective.
Yeah, and it's great for your pronunciation.
Yeah.
It's great for fluency.
Yeah, it's like you're training your mouth.
Yeah, you're mimicking the sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, another great tip is to practice thinking in English before you go to sleep.
Oh, interesting.
So take a few minutes and either reflect on your day or plan out what you're going to do tomorrow, all in English.
All in English.
So John's like, okay, so tomorrow I'm going to go to the gym and then I'm going to meet my friend for coffee.
Yeah, that's a great example.
You know, and they say like, yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And over time, your thoughts will get quicker and more natural. And then John says like, you know, I get so frustrated when I can't find the right words. And Lisa's like, don't worry about perfection.
Yeah.
She says, even native English speakers pause and use filler words and rephrase things.
Yeah, we're not perfect.
It's more about being able to communicate and being confident.
Being confident.
Than being perfect.
Exactly.
And her final piece of advice was like, find opportunities to actually speak with others, language exchange partners, online communities, even just striking up conversations.
Just get out there and practice.
The more you speak, the easier it will become.
The more natural it will feel.
Okay.
All right.
Now, this next topic, I think, is something that a lot of learners struggle with, and that is the fear of speaking.
Oh, yeah.
So we have this dialogue between Emma and Jake, and Jake is basically like, I really want to speak fluently, but I get so nervous.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of making mistakes. I'm afraid of being judged.
I'm afraid of sounding stupid.
Emma's like, it's totally normal to feel this way.
Yeah.
Building confidence takes time and practice.
Practice and patience.
And Jake is like, yeah, but sometimes my mind goes blank when I try to speak.
Yeah, that's that fear response.
I just freeze up. And so he's like, why do I feel so nervous?
What is it about speaking that's so scary?
And it comes back to that fear of making mistakes.
Yeah.
And feeling embarrassed.
Right.
And Emma's like, even native English speakers make mistakes.
We do all the time.
It's about not letting that fear stop you from practicing.
Right.
And one of her first tips is to slow down.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Your rate of speech.
Yeah.
She says you don't have to speak quickly to sound fluent. In fact, sometimes slowing down makes you sound more confident.
More confident because you're in control.
Yeah, because you're giving your brain time to think and
process.
And Jake's like, but I always rush my words because I don't want to seem like I'm struggling.
I want to get it out.
Yeah, I just want to get it over with.
And Emma's like, no, actually, speaking slowly helps you sound more confident.
Yes, helps you sound more confident.
It gives you time to think.
Because you have more control.
Yeah.
And she also suggests deep breathing exercises to calm your nerves
Not this day.
before you speak.
Yeah, deep breaths.
So to improve in both everyday conversations and professional settings, Emma kind of breaks down her advice. So for casual conversation, she's like, practice small talk.
Yeah.
You know, simple topics like the weather, hobbies, recent news. And if you're not sure what to say, use open-ended questions.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
how was your weekend?
How's your weekend?
What are your thoughts on this?
What did you think of that?
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
What's your opinion on?
Yeah.
Those are good ones.
And then in a professional setting, she says, be clear and concise and use polite phrases like, I see what you mean. Could you clarify that for me? And she's like, you know, practice answering common interview questions or work-related questions beforehand.
Yeah, so you're prepared.
So you're prepared, and to sound more natural, she reiterates that thinking in English advice, and she suggests, like, using contractions and informal phrases, like, I'm gonna, instead of I'm going to.
Right. Host speaker.